You're watching Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. We thank you for joining us. Our guests are Glencarels. Glenn is with the LPA design firm, and Hamid Azhand. He is with the Cal State University at San Bernardino, focusing on construction and design and planning, which is why these two are together, because they designed a remarkable building at Cal State San Bernardino. Hamid, I want to start with you. Let's talk about the new College of Education. How did this building come to be?
Well, this building unifies the College of Education, which was scattered in various buildings on campus in one building. And this building is technologically at the forefront and very advanced.
I think you're being a bit humble because in a lot of ways this building is really an architectural and sustainability masterpiece. I mean, in so many ways, you have set a building in the middle of the desert that sets the gold standard. Or is it the triple gold standard if you look at the LEED certification? Talk to me, Glenn.
Well, actually, the building was designed to be LEED Silver equivalent.
Which is wonderful.
It really is a groundbreaking design. It's an institutional building. It's about 140,000 square feet that really responds directly to its desert climate. It's really influenced by some of the kind of form givers of the natural environment, which is wind, water, and also the sun. And so if you take a look at how the building took its shape, it was really informed by that process in such a way that it was not only efficient and functional, but it also kind of really took that qualitative aspect of the building to a whole nother level.
So what does it mean when you say that the building is LEED certified silver, which I know is a pretty darn high standard? What would we see if we walked into the building?
Well, you're going to see some really good ideas about natural daylighting, and daylighting really penetrates deeply into the building, and that gives a qualitative kind of advantage, but also an advantage relative to operational costs. You'll see things like that. You'll see clearly materials that have a high kind of content of recycled elements to it.
What about water? Because we're in a third year of a water drought. The building's in San Bernardino, which is essentially a desert.
That actually is probably the most obvious thing you see when you arrive to the building. One of the things we noticed about the campus, it really has turned into like a garden. There's a lot of green, a lot of spaces that require water.
Is that good or bad though? I mean,
yeah.
You're right.
It's good in a sense that it creates a functional kind of space for students, but what we did for the College of Education was we actually peeled back this kind of green lawn to expose the desert floor. So the landscaping is a restorative kind of approach, and so it's not just
California natives,
right? Drought tolerant. It's not just that, but we actually even tapped into a local aquifer. So the entire water is now supplied locally on site, and we create a completely enclosed microclimate.
Hamid, let's talk dollars and cents, because the bottom line is you have budgets, the Cal State system has budgets, and I'm wondering, were you able to create this green LEED certified building within budgets that are very tight these days?
Yeah, it was challenging, and through the cooperation of the design team, university folks, and the chancellor office, we have some standards, we have some requirements. We work very hard to make it happen. This is a state-funded and operated facility.
It's Cal State.
Yeah, and it is extremely functional in those terms, extremely functional, extremely sustainable, and we were able to achieve those through a teamwork approach.
In our final moments, will we see more green higher education buildings throughout California?
Absolutely, and there's going to be some things you won't even notice. For instance, on this building, the fifth facade, the part that touches the sky becomes very important. Photovoltaics in the future can be a part of all those
remarkable.
buildings.
Glenn, Hamid, thank you so much for joining us and for what you're doing to bring higher education into the green century. We appreciate it.
I appreciate
you
it.
bet. For Local Edition, I'm Brad Pomerantz. Back to CNN HLN.
On April 1st, 2010, our nation will be counted, and what we learn will transform what we know about ourselves. Census data will be used to allocate over $300 billion in federal funds every year. Communities use the data to plan for their future, like emergency services, healthcare services, schools, transportation, and more. The 2010 census, it's a new portrait of America.